afternoon and welcome to Chatbox with Sam. Today's guest is actress, producer, writer and motivational speaker Katherine Norland. Hello Katherine and welcome to Chatbox with Sam. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an honour to have for you to be on the show. I'm very impressed with the work that you've done and the motivational speaking, which helps many people. You know, good advice is good advice and it's free. So it does lift people up, especially when they're in a dark moment. And we've been in many for for the last couple of years. So I think it really does make a difference, Katherine. It does. So thank you for doing that for people. It's awesome. If you were to encourage the younger generation, what would be your main focus?
I would encourage you to go for your dreams, no matter what anybody else says. God put a dream in your heart that is unique to you. Nobody else has the dream. Nobody else has the purpose. Nobody else can execute it the way you can execute it. Maybe you feel ostracized sometimes because you're not like other people. Maybe you feel like you don't fit in. And I want you to embrace that, to not go through all the lengths that people go through to try to fit in, but understand that God made you unique, that you are different for a purpose, and it's your difference that's going to be the distinction that sets you apart, that people are going to relate to, where people are going to feel like, you know what? This person did it. They went for their dreams, so I can go for my dreams. I'm not going to try to fit into the box that society wants me to fit in. I'm not going to try to become who other people want me to be. I'm not going to stifle down and hide my uniqueness and disguise myself to fit something I was never meant to fit, to impress people who don't even like me. I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to stand proud. I'm going to go for my dreams, even if people don't understand, even if they don't get it, even if no one can relate to me, because if I don't do it, I'm going to regret it. I'm going to live my life as a people pleaser. And that is no way to live your life. So whatever dream God has put in your heart, you have to go for it, and you have to not make excuses. And there's going to be people that are going to be able to break free out of their prisons because you have followed your dream. There's going to be people who need your message. They can't hear the message from me. They can't hear the message from Sam. They have to hear it from you. And there's people waiting to be set free from their prisons by you being who you were uniquely designed to be. So don't look to your left and don't look to your right. Just keep marching straight ahead towards that path to fulfill the dream that God has put in your heart.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I'm speechless. Now I can see why you're such an amazing motivational speaker, because you speak from your heart, and there's a light that resonates from you, your aura with that, and it surrounds you. So that's amazing. Thank you so much. How would you encourage the women of this generation?
I think it's similar.
Same.
I think we all need to embrace who we are, and it's probably the same message no matter who I'm speaking to, because whether you're young or old, male or female, we all have obstacles. We all have stereotypes we're trying to break through. We all have this portrayal that's been set by the media, by all the images we've been bombarded with, that we think we have to fit this certain mold to be desirable, to be worthy, to live up to people's expectations. And that's a lot to put on anyone's shoulders, yes, woman or man. There's these expectations, You've got to be, this is a crude way to say it, but I've heard people describe it like they expect you to be a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. And all the while in between, you're still trying to be a perfect role model and a yes, mother and a worker. And then these two extremes of, you're the woman cooking in high heels in the kitchen, and
I know.
you're, you know, it's unrealistic expectations
Yeah.
that need to be shattered. It's not just the glass ceiling. It's like, it's glass walls. It's
Yes.
everything that needs to be shattered so people can just be who they are freely without having to get bunions.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, because nobody likes bunions. So, going into your career, Kathrine, what inspired you to become? Obviously, I could see why you become a writer, but what was that moment that just inspired you to become an actress, writer, and director? Would you like to share?
They were all three separate moments. They were not cohesive and they did not come at the same time. Writing came first, primarily in the form of poetry, and that started when I was a teenager. I just had so much feelings and emotions and anxiety, and just never feeling like I fit in, that I just took to pad and pen and just had to write everything down because I just really felt like nobody understood me. So my pen and my paper were like my best friends, my journals and my notebooks. And when I didn't have anyone to talk to, and, you know, things that I felt like I couldn't share with counselors or therapists, that I could just write my feelings away. And when I got to be in my 20s and I had written all these poems about basically how life sucks and nobody likes me, I realized I was just writing the problems. And I really, if I was ever going to do anything with the poetry, I needed to bring solutions as well, not just problems. And that's how the Poetic Prescriptions series was born. You probably know I have 3 books in the Poetic Prescription series right now. And
we can buy them on Amazon.
Oh yes, they're all 3 available on Amazon. But if your fans want, they can download this one for free by going to poeticprescriptions.com/free book. This is my journey from self-hate to self-love by finding out what God had to say about me. So yeah, my online course was born out of my realizations from writing this.
Oh, that's awesome. Kathrine also is on IMDb, she's on Instagram, and she is on Facebook, and she has her own YouTube channel too. And then you became an actress.
So yes, that was the second step. I did not see that in my future. I mean, I did some plays in grade school, but it wasn't until I felt the pull to become an actor. But at the time I was going to Bible college thinking I was going to maybe grow up and be a preacher because I wanted to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to have hope because I didn't have any.
Aww.
And it wasn't until this traveling play came through my town and they were doing a performance at my church and they didn't have enough actors. They didn't have enough people. So they pulled some people to be in the play, and they cast me as this like drug addicted, loose woman of a, crazy background. And there was this moment that I got dragged into the pit of hell because I was like this evil sinner person. But the point was, after this play was done, I saw all these people just in tears, and they were all coming forward to the front of the church to get prayer. They wanted to be prayed for. They wanted to change. They wanted to be better people. And this like light bulb moment went off. And I thought, wow, you don't have to be a preacher or a pastor or a teacher to make a difference in people's lives. You could do something like acting or writing and change people's lives that way. It kind of was like, whoa. And so I followed that urge in me to move to Los Angeles and become an actor. And so, the producing and directing came later when I was becoming dissatisfied with the roles I was being offered, and not feeling like I had anything juicy to sink my teeth into, and really wanting to create my own kind of projects to portray myself or to play the roles I wanted to play. And that's when I started producing films and doing things that I thought were more aligned with the things I enjoyed and things I thought would be good for others to see. And so kind of grew out of wanting more control over my future.
Yes, that sounds really good. You had an Audience Choice Award for Love Lost and Found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the first award I ever won for my filmmaking. So it was in Venice, California, and they had this festival. I think it was called the Venice Film Festival. I don't remember, but in California, not Venice, Italy. And they had a challenge where we had to follow this certain criteria. We had to make this film a certain way. We had to have, I don't remember all the criteria, certain amount of characters. It may have even been on a certain topic, just all these things we had to work in. And I came up with a love story called Love's Lost and Found. And it was about a couple who they fancied each other when they were really young, and they run into each other again in their 70s. Aww. And they find each other again. And I had a role in it. I wrote it, produced it, directed it. And I was very surprised that the first piece of content that I had such a big part in creating, that I actually, that the audience actually liked it the best out of all the films. Now I look back on it and I go, okay, this is pretty cringe. I didn't know what I was doing. But at the time, it was like, yes, somebody is validating me that yes. It's making a difference with the audience. And I found that to be true with my writing too. Yeah. When I would get feedback from scholars or people with like Shakespearean degrees, and they would critique my poetry, and they would say, it's not, you don't have the right meter, and it doesn't have the right cadence, or it's you're missing, why do you have feminine endings? And I honestly, I was like, I didn't even know what they were talking about. Like, right. I haven't studied writing. I didn't even know I was doing anything wrong. And they're telling me like, oh, and I remember sitting in a coffee shop one day crying over this rejection letter I got about how they didn't think my poetry was good enough because of all these things. And I was like, I didn't even know that words had a feminine or masculine ending. I mean, I knew they did in Spanish, but I like...
Right, I know. English. Yeah, English, I didn't think English did.
I didn't even know what they were talking about, and I was so disheartened. And then I realized my poetry isn't for the scholars. The scholars aren't going to be the ones reading it. It's the everyday people. Right. And I remember like somebody coming up to me and saying, I don't like poetry. I don't understand it, but yours, I love, yours I resonate with. People telling me you were able to express things that I've felt for so long, but I didn't have the words to put to it. So, I stopped caring about what the critics had to say, or what the scholars had to say, or what the smart people had to say. And I was like, you know what? It's about the people that I wrote this for. It's not about the critics. It's about who really needs it, and they're going to resonate with it. So I may not make the most brilliant content that's going to please or appease Mensa level people, but I make it for the real people that are just slogging through life, slugging it out, maybe not enjoying their lives, and trying to find some bits of hope through it all.
Right. And you're writing from your soul too. I mean, why couldn't they see that why couldn't they look past and actually read and absorb what you were saying, rather than just reading the letters on the page and the punctuation and gosh knows what? Because obviously the critics is just looking for punctuation, but it's not about that. It's about reaching people. It's about making a difference, right? So obviously they failed in. They might be a scholar in one area, but they certainly weren't when it becomes how was similar, and how we're human and how to absorb things. You know, they weren't the scholar in emotion, should I say? So
Yeah.
you work for the Mystic Film Crew. Would you like to share a little bit about that?
That's a film I'm developing with Safe Harbor Films.
Yes.
With Tony. So it's been through a few renditions. We're still in development, so we haven't started pre-production on that or anything. But I think I've had some input, which I think has changed the direction of where they're taking the project. And it's always great to be part of a team of people who respect you and your insight and wisdom. I've certainly worked with people in the past who did not want to listen to anything I had to say because I was a female, or
Right. Yes.
whatever the reason was, or they didn't think I was qualified. So it's always nice to be in a creative environment where people respect you. And it's a nice family film, and bit fantasy, a bit action adventure, a bit of coming of age story. I'm excited about it when that finally starts to take off.
Yes, I know Tony does have a huge respect for you.
One time he thought he was calling somebody else, but he accidentally dialed me. And before I even got a chance to say anything, he just started talking about me and Katherine, and I was just listening, and he went off telling somebody for like 10 or 15 minutes straight all these nice things about me.
Yeah.
And he didn't know I was on the phone. And I finally when he was done, like when I had he can talk, when I finally had that inch in
to talk,
I think he was probably so embarrassed, but I was like, Tony, did you mean to call me? This is Katherine. You've just been talking about me the whole time.
He said good job. It was good things he was saying, right?
It was.
Could have been worse.
That could have gone anyway. People don't always have glowing reports about people all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a pretty incident that I got to hear. When you get to hear how someone speaks about you when they don't know you're listening.
Right. It's amazing that we can get good people that can see us for our inner value, and I think that does make a difference, especially when you're working with someone, because you're on the same page, So,
yeah.
So I saw that you were in a film called Beauty and the Ballers. Would you like to share with the audience a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. That was a fun TV show. It was a sitcom, and I was blessed to be in 2 episodes of that show. It aired on BET, which I don't know if you know about that in America. It stands for Black Entertainment Television. I think that's what it stands for.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay. So it was I don't know if it was on their channel directly or one of their sub channels, but yeah, it was a fun, super fun sitcom about a basketball player and his beautiful wife. And I would have loved to do more episodes and more seasons of that, but unfortunately the creator of it passed away from cancer.
Oh no.
And he wasn't very old. I believe he was in his 40s.
Oh, that's
so
awful.
It was very tragic and unexpected. I remember he didn't even mention that he had it, and then I saw him and he was so thin. And I didn't know why he was so thin since I saw him last. And it was shortly after that he had passed away. But it was a beautiful show. I don't know. People might still be able to find it.
Do we know his name so we can give him credit?
Yes, it was Michael Ajakwe Jr. Beautiful heart, beautiful soul. He also had a hand in putting together the TV series documentary called Unsung, and it's about these famous singers that never really like they were unsung, like people didn't see how great they were.
Right.
So that's another beautiful series he did. I met him, I believe, at a networking event in Hollywood, and then I was one of those persistent actors. I just kept sending him postcards, and I was like, I'm in this new show, watch me, I'm gonna be airing here, watch me. And I just, when I would meet people back in my days when I was really persistent, I would send all the casting directors a postcard whenever I had a new film coming out or something, hoping that they would think of me when they cast something. And I would keep sending him postcards. And one day he was like, finally called me to have an audition. So I finally auditioned for him. And then I had to audition again when this TV pilot came out, because then I didn't just have to prove myself to him, I had to prove myself to the other producers and casting people. And, it's one thing for someone to believe in you, but it's a whole nother thing when you have to impress the producers and the money people and, all the other people. So you never, ever stop proving yourself in Hollywood.
It can be a hard industry. It's not easy. It's not easy. There's a lot of no's, and there's yeses, which are awesome, but there's a lot of no's. What advice would you give to young actresses and actors that wanted to go into the industry on how to handle the rejections and the new ways that are happening now in the industry, like with self-tapes and the rejections you get from them, and because there's so many being done? What advice would you give to them?
Well, the self-tapes, it's a really interesting, some people love them and some people hate them. Self-tapes are great because you get to, if you mess up your take, you can do it over and over and over till you feel like it's your best performance. But when you're in a live room with someone, you do that one take and that's it. Usually you do not get a redo unless they loved you and they want you do it a different way. So that's one plus to it. A minus to it, that a lot of people who have big, fun, vivacious personalities, who are really people friendly people, and they connect, extroverts, they don't get that. When you go into a room with someone, there can be like chemistry and electricity and all that stuff that doesn't really translate to on screen.
Yeah.
So that's the downside to it. As far as rejection goes, the best thing you can do is look at it objectively from kind of an outside point of view. Don't look at it as if they're rejecting you. Mm-hmm. Look at it as if you weren't right for the role, or something in the way you interpreted the character or you were presenting the character didn't fit with what they were looking for.
Right.
Now, if you get rejected or turned down, or you don't book a job, and if this is happening 20 times in a row, 30 times in a row, and you don't book anything, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not good or you should quit. But it might mean if you haven't gotten a call back or haven't booked something at least one out of every 15 auditions, you may want to, get with an acting coach. You may want to get a teacher. You may want to, take some more classes and figure out what am I doing that's maybe not translating well. How, you want to tape yourself and play it back and watch yourself and try to see if you can pick out, like, what is not working? What is it in my performance? Why might somebody not be casting me? Don't ask your mom. Don't ask your brother or sister. Don't ask people who know you. Ask people in the industry who have some sort of a knowledge of why you might not be getting roles. Sometimes your nerves can get in the way. People can sense if you're nervous and they don't want to work with you because they don't want you on set. There's a lot of pressure on set. There's a lot of money being spent. They don't want you to be the one shaky person that could throw things off if you're all nervous that you might mess up. They want you to, you're starting out, you're only going to get a couple lines. They don't want you to go on some big TV show and have you so nervous the director has to do 50 takes with you. You got one line, you're going to get 1 or 2 takes, maybe 3 if you're lucky. And they have to know you can deliver without being nervous. So I remember one audition, they told me I booked it just from how I walked into the room.
Wow.
They they already had the role. They had the role in mind. They wanted the boss to be like a middle-aged man, my little fedora hat on. I was like, I don't know, I was feeling good that day. And they told me from the moment I walked in, they decided to change the character of the boss who was a middle-aged man, to me, just because of how I walked in and carried myself. So
awesome.
A lot of it before you even get to the performance level can be how you're presenting yourself. Right. So you have to have confidence. Even if you aren't sure of your delivery, like you're not sure how the character would be, you have to make a decision and you have to go for it. And 9 times out of 10, do the thing that's memorable, not the thing that's safe. And you'll go far.
That's good advice. So do the thing that's memorable and not the thing that's safe. I like that.
Yeah.
That's very good. I'm going to put that across the top of the screen. I am. I like that quote. Very good advice. So moving on a little bit. So what out of all the charities that there is in the world, which one would you choose to advocate for and why?
I've been involved in many charities, mostly financially giving, and dozens of them, and participated in some in other ways. But if I had to narrow it down to one, probably the one that touches my heart the most would be Zoe. Zoe Children's Home and Zoe, I don't know the exact what they call themselves, but it's Zoe, Z-O-E. And this particular organization was originally based in Thailand, but now they're also in Los Angeles and some other places as well. This, I know this husband and wife, he was a successful businessman. They were well-to-do, living in California, and they sold their house and they gave everything away to move to Thailand, where they didn't even speak the language, to start rescuing children at brothels. And they put their lives in danger every day to rescue children out of sex slavery. They bring them into a loving home. They rehabilitate them. They teach them about God. They help bring back these children's worth. They realize, that they're not what's been done to them, that they have a future and a hope.
Yeah, that's right. You're breaking up a little bit because the internet's slowing down. So I have to be careful with that. I will take. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Don't worry, I can edit it. So you're like,
oh, okay. If you need me to re-say anything or redo anything, just let me know.
I will. I'll go. Like teacher. I will. I'll tell you. Well, yes. I'll look that up and I'll put the organisation across the screen. But yeah, especially when it comes to sex trafficking and children that are abused in such a evil, horrific manner, and evil is the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
And off camera, and Jesus, God, does say, whoever hurts one of these little ones faces the hottest place in hell. But I won't put that in the interview, but that's how I feel about that situation. So anyone that
better
hurts
a millstone be hung around. Yeah.
Right. Hanging around the neck. It's just awful. And it's not just women. It's not just children. It's not just girls. It's boys and there's some sick people. Sick people. Sorry, I won't get started.
Yeah.
It's one thing I'm
Yeah.
very advocate against too. So, you know, if you can help a child not be in pain and not be hurt so much, and help against sex trafficking and abuse against children, um, you know, lots of pennies make pounds, and if everybody give a little bit, what a difference it would make, I think. So thank you for sharing that, Katherine. How do you feel about what has transpired since COVID-19?
What's transpired in what regard? In the country?
So yeah, how do you feel about what transpired in the country, and then what happened? You know, with everything, just the whole thing. It doesn't have to be political. The whole thing surrounded the COVID-19 and the people, and how they cope with it, and how it affected us.
You know, it's I want to say it's a tragedy. It's pretty tragic what has transpired. And the sad thing is, in most tragedies, like when we had 9/11 happen in America, it united people.
Mm-hmm.
This has divided us.
Yeah.
And it's really sad to see the fear level in people, to the point where certain family members will not even see certain family members because they're so in fear of getting sick. And I hate to blame the media for everything, but the fear mongering has been driving a lot of this. People feeling afraid, people feeling alone, people being isolated, people feeling like they can't even give their grandchild a hug because it could be detrimental. I feel like this is a lot of, I want to say, psychological abuse.
And politics weren't innocent on the fact either. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing, because I think there are some genuine people out there that want to make things better, but they don't always make the best choices for how that should come about, putting people's, not just their livelihoods on the line, you know. So many feelings, but the domestic violence has gone up, the suicides have gone up, and even the divide between whether you've gotten this thing in your arm or whether you haven't gotten the thing in your arm.
Allowing people the freedom to choose. Everyone's being critical of each other when we should be, you know, taking care of each other. Whether you know, don't judge. If someone's afraid to take the vaccine, then have empathy for that. You know, don't criticize or judge. Just if people have the vaccine, that's their choice too. We can't mandate something you can't mandate a freedom of choice. Really, this country. I know people are saying if you don't take it, but I've had COVID, or my daughter's had COVID, my son's had COVID, the Omicron one or whatever. I know the first one that came in was very dangerous, but I think viruses mutate, and that's what they do. It's always going to be here. Our bodies have to build up an immune system to them, and they will. And more people that get the virus and survive it, yes, there's going to be people that need to be careful with autoimmune diseases, but many people are going to get COVID and be okay, I think.
No, I think that, most, 99% survival rate?
Something
like that. It's pretty high.
It's pretty high now. Yeah, same as flu, I think, almost. Yeah, the new variant is getting weaker and weaker, and we're getting stronger, and our immune systems are getting stronger.
But yeah, it's the divide that I've been most concerned about, pitting one side against the other side, when we're going to be better if we unite.
Absolutely, unity is very powerful.
It's kind of, it's there's other things that need to be highlighted in the media, like problems that are really actually bigger
Yes.
than this sickness, that are just being under the rug, like what we just talked about.
Yes.
Like human trafficking. Why does that not make the news?
Right.
How many patients are in the hospital right now with this? You know, what's the real? It's kind of like, I think of, it's like these subtle messages, like back when you used to go to the movies and they found out that they were sneaking in between the movie a couple frames of go get a Coke, go get popcorn. And suddenly you have the urge to go get popcorn. It's like, what are we being fed?
Programmed.
You know, that's leading up.
Yeah.
Programmed. And that's, you know, it's not a popular thing to talk about. And a lot of people want to believe that, you know, the powers that be have our best in mind. And I would love that if that were true, but when has that ever been true in history?
Exactly. I just like to touch base on that with people, because I think, you know, I think we're all entitled to our opinion. I mean, I've asked nearly, will be 40 people the same question. 40 people. I mean, that's probably not many in the world, but it, you know, considering, but I think a percentage, you know, believe that we're going to be okay, you know.
Yeah.
That we're going to be, that we're going to get through this. It's a new way, like after 911, like going through security was a lot different, and then the way we're doing things now is a lot different, you know, and we have to get used to the new way of doing things, but I think eventually the fear will subside. Yeah. Hopefully.
I hope so.
Thank you for answering that. So what are your go-to hobbies? What make you relax? Because I know you're a reader and a writer and a producer, but what touches your soul? What's your, like, music? How has music influenced your life?
Oddly enough, I'm one of the few strange people in the world that doesn't really listen to music. Really? Hardly ever. I know some people that have to listen to it every day. They have to get in this certain mind. It's very rare that I'm ever listening to music.
Oh, wow.
Unless I'm at a party or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, that's, yeah, people are always so surprised when they hear that.
I am.
I'm like, I don't. What drives me is learning. And so when I'm in the car, I'm not listening to a song I've already heard 500 times. I'm listening to audiobooks. Okay. So because I feel like I'm in this position to help others, to teach others, I'm an encouragement coach. I have clients that I talk to each week. I feel like the more I know, the more I'm going to be able to help people in life. So I'm not one to go for my own comfort, my own, like, what's going to make me feel good? You know, my husband always jokes, like, when we go out to eat, he's looking for what sounds the most delicious on the menu, and I'm looking for what's the healthiest on the menu.
Oh, really?
Because I know my vessel is not my own. My life is not my own. I have to be here, healthy, free on this planet long enough to fulfill the mission God has on my life. You know, I have a special needs child. I don't want to die early. Like, I want to be there for as long as I can be here to do that. So I want to help more people. So if I'm like the average person who's like, what's going to make my taste buds happy today? What's going to help me get in the right, what do I need? You know, I feel like I've kind of moved past that, but I've kind of come to I'm happy with decisions I'm making to maybe put my needs and desires on the back burner in some way so I can be more of service to others.
Oh, you're such a beautiful person. Now I know why Tony speaks so highly of you. Yeah,
Oh,
you're a good soul.
thank you.
Angelic. Very nice. Oh. So thank you for answering that. So, and they're your hobbies too? You like swimming, walking?
I do like walking. I mean, as far as like, I don't consider it a hobby, but I
Yeah.
every now and then I go roller skating. It's very rare these days, maybe once a year, but I have a little mini trampoline and I try to jump on that 10 minutes a day, and
Awesome.
that makes me happy. Yeah, I do my little jam on the mini trampoline. It's like I'm weird because I'm one of those people that I feel like I have to have a purpose in
Right.
doing something. My husband would be like, he'll just go like to have fun, to go hang out with his friends. But I'm always like, okay, what is the purpose of this? What am I getting at? So even like
Yeah.
exercise for me, exercise for many years, because I was like, well, what is the point? I don't care to be a slimmer size. I don't care
Yeah.
about this or that, but reading about how jumping on the mini trampoline helps flush the lymph and clean the lymph from your body. I'm like, okay,
So you
I
did
can
it.
justify now jumping. I can justify jumping because I know it's doing something.
I'd probably have
I
an-
have to read about how it's healthy for your heart
Oh,
to do this, and then I'm like, okay, now I see what the purpose is. So it's odd sometimes, but like people that just want to go have fun. Like I'm going to be going to Las Vegas soon for a film festival,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I was kind of sitting on the fence, like not sure if I should go because I don't just want to go to have fun. Like I'm
Why
like,
not?
okay, what's my purpose for going? I know, is that weird? Because
You should go
I
and
know
have
I
fun.
felt
Let your hair
I
down, Kathrine,
should.
and go and have fun.
I
Do
should.
that. Do that bounce on the trampoline, bounce in the plane. Go and have fun. Don't think about
Right?
anybody else. Just think about you. Especially if you have a special needs child. As a mother, we
Yeah.
don't just need to be a mother. We need to be ourselves too. Because when you go and take a break from all helping everybody else and being mom and being
Yeah.
actress, being director, being producer, being a motivational speaker, just go and be you. I'm sure it can be very challenging being a mother, and then as a mother, and then working full time and with different projects, and then having a son, special needs. They need that little bit of extra care and love and attention always. And I really very proud of you. Really proud of you as maintaining a career and a home life. And so you're very inspiring for women and families and parents and career people out there. People of careers and home life and juggling the two. So be proud of you and have some time for you when you can too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything that no one has asked you in the interview that you would have liked them to ask you?
I don't know if anyone has ever asked me, like, what gets me out of bed in the morning?
I daren't ask. Usually I say, right then, Kathrine, what gets you out of bed in the morning? Apart from a cup of coffee.
Oh, see, and I don't even need coffee because my purpose fuels me.
Oh.
I don't even drink coffee. So there comes a certain time before any alarms go off, a lot of times before the sun even comes up, where I just wake up thinking about my purpose.
Right.
And all the things, like all the stuff that I feel like God has downloaded in me and put in my heart to help others who are struggling with the things I used to struggle with. Self-esteem, self-worth issues, knowing who you are, what your identity is, how to not be a doormat, how to go after your dreams, how to become unstoppable, how to know you are worthy and that you are chosen and that you are here on purpose for a purpose, and how to get
Yes.
over your obstacles. I just wake up, and it doesn't matter if my body is physically tired, because my mind is calculating, what can I do today to get that message across? What can I do today to pull someone out of their funk? What can I do to make someone feel special, to show them, how to overcome this thing you're going through? And when people read my books or when they see some of my YouTube videos, they're like, wow, you're really vulnerable. You really talk about stuff that, most people would like pretend they haven't gone through or whatever. And I just want to be that real person. I want to be someone that you can not just like learn from, like I have all the answers, but I want to show you, like, look at me mess up. Look at me fall on my face. But guess what? Got back up again. Guess what? This happened. I recorded something for 4 hours the other day and realized the camera wasn't even recording. So I'm like, look at me. I
Oh
just wasted half a day doing, I just want to show my mess ups along the way, also to help people have perspective,
no.
to
Yeah.
help them, realize, if something happens to you, you can't let it stop you. You just keep getting up. You just keep getting up no matter
Never
how
give
many
up.
times you fall.
So, is there any last words you'd like to say to the viewers, Katherine?
Just thank you for being here. I honor your time. The fact that you would spend this time hearing from Sam and I, we know you're not going to get that back. So we hope that there was something of value that you can take with you, even if it's just the idea to keep going, to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And if you don't quit, you win. Whatever you put your hands to, it will prosper. And if you follow that dream in your heart and not listen to what anybody else is telling you, you will succeed. There's something God put inside you that only you have, that nobody else can do, nor can they do it the way you do, with the finesse you do, with the pizzazz you have. You have an audience to reach who's not going to listen to Sam, who's not going to listen to me, and you have a message to share. If that's through your painting, if that's through being a nurse, if that's through writing, it doesn't matter what the vehicle is. Maybe you're an Uber driver and you are a listening ear to people in pain and going through problems, and you're that non-judgmental person that people need. Just don't think you're insignificant. No matter what you do, if you're a street sweeper or a grocery clerk, you have the chance every single day to put a smile on someone's face, to make them feel important. And never feel like, because you're not out in the limelight or you don't have a big social media following, if you just make a difference for one person every day, you never know that ripple effect that's going to go out and change the world.
Oh, Katherine, you're speaking from my own heart. You're a very inspiring lady, and I hope people take to heart. I've seen your videos that I've seen on Instagram, and I know you emailed me the other day, and which I need to watch, and I will watch, because I do enjoy inspirational speakers, motivational speakers, and you are full of wisdom and full of inspiration. And I think it's a great learning tool for many people, especially if one person is in a small dark place and they just need that word of encouragement. And I think it helps. They might pop along
Yeah.
and see that, and it might make a huge difference in their day. So I want to say thank you for all the time you put into that. You're a very kind soul, and I hope God rewards you heavily.
Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate you having me. you.